Just give me a chance. When she came out of the garage, I was sitting on a chair in the middle of the kitchen, across from the laundry room. She saw me sitting there. When she walked toward the laundry room door, I carried a small table out of the living room. It had a few items on it, stage props for a performance I had to do. There was a question in her voice. "What are you doing? Is something wrong?" "No, nothing's wrong," I said. "I just thought you might want to help me with the fitting." "What fitting? What are you talking about?" I picked up one of the items from the table and proudly displayed it. "They say this needs to be fitted." "What is this?" she asked, confused. "What's going on, Thomas? Is this some kind of prank?" Although I enjoyed a good prank now and then, I wasn't joking. "Well, it's kind of a prank, but it's supposed to be serious." "No, it's not a prank," I said. "It's a manhood cage, a chastity device." Her eyes went wide, like they might pop out of her head. I thought they looked like snail eyes, only missing the little stalks. "What the hell is this? Are you out of your mind? What are you talking about?" "I did some research," I told her. "Cucked husbands have to wear manhood cages. In fact, it's the most important thing. You wear the key on a chain around your neck, and after the bull is done making love to you, you let me out so I can get sloppy seconds. If you decide to let me—" "Thomas, what's wrong with you?" she asked, looking at me like I had grown a third eye. "I have no idea what you're talking about. Have you lost your mind?" "No, I'm perfectly sane," I said. "I just wanted to understand how it all works so I can play my part. So I bought you a nice little chain." I held it up so she could see the key dangling from it. "You can wear this, and when you're ready for me to eat cream cakes and have sloppy seconds, you can let me out. Do you like this one?" I held out the cage. "I should have asked you. They have several styles. When are you planning to bring the bull in? I'd like to meet him as soon as possible." "What the hell are you talking about?" Her voice rose almost to a scream. "What the hell is a bull, and what are you doing with that disgusting thing?" Obviously, she didn't like my choice of cage. Oh, well, maybe I could get a refund. As long as she didn't touch my genitals, it should be fine. I wondered if the cage had been returned before. I shuddered at the thought. Before using it, it should be washed thoroughly. "The bull is the guy who makes love to your wife," I explained. "You know, the alpha male. He cucks the husband and watches. After he's done with your wife, you do the cleaning." Her face flushed with anger. "Thomas, you're accusing me of a relationship with someone else." "No," I said. "I don't like to think of it that way. I'm not accusing you. Accusing implies judgment. Blaming is such a harsh term. You make love to Greg Johnson, but that's not the issue. I just hope I got my part right. Now, if you'll help me put this on." I held it out to her. She took 2 steps forward, snatched it out of my hands, and threw it violently into the laundry room. It was a perfect throw, straight into the dryer. "Stop it," she shouted. I looked hurt. "Damn it, Ronnie. You must have bent it. If you didn't like it, you should have just said so. We could have traded it for one you liked. Now, I'll have to spend a lot of time straightening it out, so we can trade it for one you want." "Screw the damn thing," she growled. "How did you, how long have you known?" I thought for a minute. "Well, today is March 15th, I said. "The first time was February 11th at 7:44. Now it's 5:40. Do you need minutes? Or is an hour enough?" "Hey, that's a foreshadowing of March. How fitting. That's the day Julius Caesar was assassinated." Her mouth dropped open. She looked at me, opening and closing her mouth but not making a sound, like a fish stuck on dry land. It wasn't a good look. "Why didn't you say something?" she gasped. "What was there to say?" I asked. "How about, Veronica, you cheating fool," or, "Why are you having an affair?" Is that what you want me to say? "Don't you want to know why?" she asked. "I already know why," I said. "I don't need to ask. I know how cheaters work. You're a sociopath." Her big blue eyes filled with tears. "How can you say that?" I thought you loved me. What does that have to do with it? I asked. I loved you. Well, I did, before I found out you were a cheating sociopath. Now that I know, I realize that loving you was stupid. I just need to figure out how to adjust to our new roles. She did the fish thing again. Your lips aren't quite right, I told her. They should be pointing more downward. What is wrong with you? She practically screamed now. Why are you talking about my lips? Well, carp have lips that point downward, so they can suck something up from the bottom, I explained. You're doing pretty well, but you need to work on your lips. She probably didn't know I'd done extensive research on carp and was ignoring my criticism of her parody. What did you mean by find someone else? She asked. Are you divorcing me? Yes, but it's going to take time, I told her. I figured as long as we live together and I can wear a cage. You'd throw me a bone in between making love to Johnson. That's not what I meant, she said. It's over, Thomas. I won't see him again. I don't want a divorce. Well, that's surprising, I said. Usually when a wife starts sleeping with men other than her husband, it means she wants a divorce. Maybe that's not what you want, but that's the usual course of events. I didn't want you to find out, she said. It was only a brief affair. Thomas, it's over. And I swear I will spend the rest of my life being the best wife you can imagine. Well, that sounds very attractive, I said. But I'm afraid I'll have to decline. Thomas, please don't do this, she begged. You know I love you. It didn't mean anything. It just happened. I'm telling you it's over. Considering you never told me it started, I just don't know how I can believe it, I said. How are you going to convince me? She stepped forward and pressed her lush body against mine. She was hot, no doubt about it. It's all behind me now, she promised. I swear, we both knew what her promises were worth. She jumped up. I don't want to hear about the cages anymore, she growled. Forget the cages, I said. It's over. What the hell is wrong with you? She cried. I love you, and I'm not going to do this. Stop talking about it. It's disgusting, she said. I'm sorry, I said. Say, Ronnie, did you happen to use protection with Big Johnson? Her face turned red. Stop calling him that, she snapped. God, you can be so rude. I told you he wasn't that big, she said. And yes, I made him use protection. Well, were you planning on us making love any time soon? I asked. Anytime you want, baby, she purred. Have I ever turned you down? Not that I recall, I said. But I think you should get an STD test anyway. There's no point in both of us risking our health. If you could get infected with something, you'd have already. Her voice trailed off. You haven't made love to me since. I started, have you? She asked. Jesus, Thomas, she added. I hadn't noticed. That's why lately you've been sick or tired, isn't it? Well, yes, I admitted. I never liked the thought of, She wrinkled her nose at the mention of that. I'll get checked tomorrow, she said. What's going to happen now? Nothing for a while, I told her. Divorces take time, you know that. She groaned slightly. I told you I don't want a divorce. I know, I said. I remember. It was only a few minutes ago. My concentration waned a little when you were seducing me. But I can remember some things. We don't need to get divorced, she pleaded. I told you, it's over now. From now on, I'm going to be completely faithful to you. Yes, I remember you said that, I replied, my voice tinged with disbelief. I didn't believe you, though. I've heard it all before. The promises, the declarations. I'll leave everyone else behind. Remember? Her face flashed in my mind. Yes, I remember, she whispered, sounding unsure of herself. I don't know what's wrong with me. I wasn't planning on having an affair, Thomas. We were always together at work. He kept hitting on me, and I just got stupid. I'm so sorry. I know it doesn't mean much now. Yeah, I thought you'd be more upset, she continued, her voice cracking slightly. Oh, I was. I said, my tone colder than I intended. "I've been upset for weeks. At first, I thought about killing you. I even went to the shooting range, practiced with an old gun. Then I thought about killing him, the lover. I even had a plan to kill both of you." She wrinkled her nose, clearly uncomfortable. "Macy talked me out of it," she added, almost as if trying to justify herself. "Macy knows?" I asked, disbelief evident in my voice. "You told her? Why would you do that?" "Do you hate me that much?" she asked, her eyes wide with shock. "No," I answered, though the words didn't sound convincing to me either. "I didn't tell her. She told me." Her face twisted as if someone had punched her in the gut. She looked defeated, but there was something more. "Carp, he looks like he's on steroids. How did she know? How did she even—" "Oh my God," she gasped. "She hasn't called me since. She keeps saying she's busy whenever I try to call. She's avoiding me. I don't know how much longer I can take this." "I'm not sure he's listening," I muttered. "Isn't it one of his cardinal rules not to sleep with people other than your spouse?" She sat there unmoved, tears streaming down her face. My comment seemed to have no effect on her. Then, after a long silence, she finally spoke. "Thomas, what am I supposed to do now?" she asked in a voice full of regret and sorrow. I shrugged. "I really have no idea, Ronnie. Is there a book you could read? Maybe How to Explain to Your Daughter Why You're a Cheater." She gave me a blank stare, her eyes dull. "You don't have to hit me with your words," she said quietly. "If it makes you feel better, I think you have every right to say what you want. Do you like hurting me now?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Well, yes," I said, my voice tinged with something I didn't like. "I think I do. A little. I wasn't violent before you made me this way." "I'm sorry," she whispered, her face crumpling. "Can you help me now?" "I have no idea," I replied. "What did you think would happen when I found out?" "I didn't think you would find out," she answered, her voice almost pleading. "I just didn't think. I just did it." "Well, now that you know, what are your ideas?" I asked, trying to mask my anger with sarcasm. She thought for a moment, then asked, "What do you think about open marriages?" I couldn't help but laugh bitterly. "I think open marriages are just divorces that haven't happened yet." "Are you sure?" she asked, as if unsure of my response. "I've read about them in magazines. I've seen people on TV talking about them." "I'm sure," I said. "I read about a lot of things myself. Just last week, at the grocery store, I saw a woman talking about being Sasquatch's love slave. Her mouth open and closed. It was ridiculous." She looked at me confused. "Maybe it was a pufferfish, not a carp," I added, not expecting any real reaction. "Do you realize how humiliating that would be?" I said, "These women aren't wives. They're just cheaters. Open just means you become one too. Then think about how I'd feel about that." She looked at me, wide-eyed. "How would you feel about it?" "Like you're going to cut my balls off," I replied coldly. She didn't say anything at first, but her eyes were full of regret. "Stop saying all that," she screamed. "I told you it's over. I'm not seeing anyone else. I'm not cheating anymore." "Yeah, I remember," I said, my voice bitter. "Do you think I have Alzheimer's, Veronica?" She just stared at me, the words hanging between us. "By the way," she said, her voice low, "would you rather have your divorce papers served here or at work?" "I don't want a divorce," I snapped. "Well, I'm not giving you a divorce," she said, shaking now. "Thomas, I'm not giving you one. I'm filing," I said, feeling a strange calmness wash over me. "You'll have to wait. I think it's 60 days. If you don't contest it, the judge will grant it." "I'm going to contest it," she said, her voice sharp. "Why?" I asked. "You obviously don't want to be married. At least not to me. Why would you want to fight it?" "I do want to be married," she said, her voice full of emotion. "I want to be married to you." "What about your lover?" I asked. That seems a little counterproductive if you want to stay married. I'll wear a cage, she said, looking away. Only until the divorce is finalized, I asked, unable to keep the sarcasm out of my voice. I went to the laundromat to get the cage, I said, holding it up, but I don't think I'll wear it. It's a little crooked, and it would probably be painful. She snatched it from my hand and threw it back into the laundry room. Leave that disgusting thing alone, she shouted. You're being disgusting. No, that's what we horny husbands are supposed to do, I said, trying to lighten the mood, though it felt hollow. I've studied this thoroughly. She looked at me with alarm. You're not a cuckold, or whatever it is you're saying. Well, technically no, I said. I guess I'm an obliging cuckold, but only in theory. She stared at me in disbelief. Don't even think about it, she whispered. Of course she's yours, I said, my mind wandering. Do you think I should take a DNA test? She stared at me as though I were from another planet. Actually, I've already taken one, I admitted. Macy's mine. I was just messing with you. There's no need for that, she said, relieved. Macy's your child. I've never been unfaithful to you, Thomas. I raised an eyebrow. You mean before? Big Johnson. She flinched. Stop calling him that, she said, visibly upset. He wasn't that big. He's nothing, Thomas. Believe me, you're big enough for any woman. Were you interested? I teased. She blushed. I was amazed you had that kind of ability to ask, she muttered. Girls talk about these things. Really? How big is Sam's? I asked. She looked at me, clearly uncomfortable. I don't know. Guys who brag always have tiny, you know. I chuckled. Well, I always suspected that. Thanks, Ronnie. You learn something new every day. So, are we done talking about divorces and cages and whatever else? She asked, exhausted. I guess, I said, though I knew the divorce issue was far from over. First of all, you still haven't told me where you want the papers served. I think there will be a hearing or something, but we won't be getting divorced, she will say firmly. With those words, she will leave upstairs, and I will hear the shower running. I will go and get the cage out of the dirty clothes. It will be well made, but the wire will be a little flimsy. After bending it as best as I can, I will put it in the box and carefully place it on the mantel next to our wedding picture. It will look good there. The box will have priority mail printed on it in beautiful red letters. I will go to the Angus Grill restaurant and order myself a very nice steak. In the middle of dinner, my phone will ring. I will answer it. It will be Ronnie. She will ask, "Where did you go?" I will reply, "I'm eating. This is a very good tenderloin. Usually they're tough, but this one is very tender. And you know I've always liked the taste of a good sirloin." I will hear panting sounds in the tube. She will ask, "Why didn't you ask me if I wanted to go?" I will respond, "I thought you might want to call Big Johnson and tell him it was over." I will add, "I didn't want my presence to disturb you in case it wasn't over and you wanted to make a date." I will say, "I like that word. Don't you love date? It has a certain pathos to it." She will sound like a turkey cackling on the phone, and I will think that maybe I should go turkey hunting and hire her to call them. I will tell him tomorrow. She will ask, "When are you coming home?" I will say, "Tonight. Bud's got a darts tournament. I'll swing by there. Give it a try, have a couple beers, and be home around 9, unless Alicia's there. If she's there, I might as well hang out and see what she's up to." She will hiss, "Why would you do that? You know I've always had a thing for her." I will say, "While I was married to you, I never gave it a second thought." She will growl, "You're still married to me." I will respond, "I'll come and claw that fool's eyes out if you're not home by 9. I won't doubt her for a minute. She never really cared much for Alicia. When I get home, she will be in the kitchen banging pots and pans. I will go upstairs, take a shower, and go to bed. I get up at 5:30 for work, and she will come in a while later strip, and crawl into bed naked. She will start to slide down my body, but I will stop her. I will say, I don't want to ruin the moment, but you should have taken that test. She will sigh, "You're talking nonsense, Thomas. I don't have an STD. Greg is married. He wouldn't risk bringing any nasty surprises home to his wife. Besides, I told you I always made him use protection. I will ask, I swear, is that oath anything like the renounce everything else oaths?" She will hesitate for a moment and then ask, "How am I supposed to show you that I'm serious if you don't want to make love to me?" She will ask me all day, and I will walk around with a smile on my face. Some of the guys will tease me about it. When I get home, she will be there, fussing in the kitchen. I'm making pork chops. She will call out, "Stuffed just the way you like them." I will go upstairs, change, and go back downstairs to watch basketball on ESPN. She will come in when she hears the sound of the TV, bringing me a beer and chips. I will think, "Wow, what a life." We will have a good meal, and she will tell me that she went and got tested. The results will be back in 3 days, which will coincide with Friday, so it will probably be ready by Friday night. The thought will seem to excite her, and I won't want to ruin her mood. I will say, "You know, Ronnie, if you make love to Big Johnson again, you're going to have to take a new test." She will shout, "I won't sleep with him or anyone else." She will add, "How many times do I have to tell you, Thomas?" From now on, I'll be as faithful as an atomic clock. I will look at her, and she will say, "I am yours alone, Thomas, and I will be yours alone for the rest of our lives." It will sound very familiar, but I will just nod. Friday will come as always, and she will meet me at the door with the test results. "See, I told you so," she will exclaim. "We were just wasting time." She will grab my hand and start to lead me toward the stairs when the doorbell will ring. She will open the door, and there will stand a huge man. He will be just under 2 meters tall, and his head will be shaved. In the collar of his very nice suit, a snake-shaped tattoo will be disappearing. He will ask, "Are you Veronica Brown?" She will answer, "Yes." "What's this about?" He will hand her a large envelope. "You've already been served," he will say. "Sorry, ma'am." He will turn on his heel and walk away. I will be puzzled. I will be sure all process servers are young girls chewing gum, but this will be very out of character. It will feel like a bad omen. Hopefully, things will get back to normal soon. Veronica will turn to face me. "Thomas, what is it?" I will say, "I'm almost certain it's your divorce papers." She will groan and sink to the floor of the foyer. This will be very undignified. I will try to help her up, but she will yank her hand away. "What's this?" she will sob. "I told you I don't want a divorce." "I'm sorry, Thomas. I'm so sorry. Please don't divorce me." I will pick her up in my arms and carry her to the couch. "Well, I told you this would happen," I will say. "Did you think I was kidding?" She will sob, "No. I thought you'd change your mind. You have to give me a chance. Just give me a chance, Thomas. I'll show you what a wonderful wife I'll be." I will ask her, "You want to show me that now?" She'll look at me with eyes full of tears. I will hold out my hand, and she will take it. I will lead her upstairs. She will show me 3 times that night, and twice on Saturday. I will only have enough for 2 on Sunday, but she will be on top of it. I will hand it to her. She will call Big John, making me listen while she tells him to go away and never come near her again. He won't take it well, calling her all sorts of nasty names. I will agree with him, as he will use many of the same terms I've used when talking to her. I won't realize my sweet little girl has such a mouth. The divorce will move forward, and the first thing the judge will do is schedule a counseling session. We will have to attend 6 sessions, or the counselor could reduce the number. The court will give Ronnie a choice of counselors, and I will hate the guy. He will be a fat male toad who clearly hasn't been married for the last 40 years. He will have all sorts of progressive theories that he will test on us guinea pigs. I will be running around the maze like a white rat, counting the sessions until they're over. Both he and Ronnie will make great progress, but the main thing will be insufficient. I will make all the right noises and play all his games until the last session. He will ask if we want him to call the judge and tell him the divorce is off. I will reply that I will take care of everything. He will stand up to shake my hand, hunching over from his poor overstuffed chair. I will take it and squeeze it lightly. His knees will buckle a little, and I will put my arm around him. "Listen, you fat bastard," I will growl. "Take all your advice, all your stupid jargon, and shove it up your ass." Letting him go, I will leave him and Ronnie standing there. I will go to the car, and she will follow me. "Why did you do that, Thomas?" she will ask. "I thought we were doing so well." I will say, "Yeah, I thought so too before you decided to become Big John's needlewoman." She will stand stunned for a minute. "You're really going to divorce me, aren't you?" she will ask. I will say, "Yes, I told you that from the beginning." I will add, "You might want to think about getting your hearing tested." She will ask, "Are you going to move out or make me move out?" I will say, "No, I like my house. If you want to move out, I think you can." If one of us decides to move out, we'll either have to sell the house and split the money, or whoever stays will have to buy the other out. She will ask, "So, we'll get divorced, but you'll still pay for the house?" I will say, "No, I will have to buy it." I will leave the conversation open to make things a bit easier for me later. I will stay on the subject matter and leave the situation open,